let's talk about the economy and how would it look like under a Harris or Trump administration, because I'm sure as the elections are coming up, a lot of people beyond just who they there's a
Hmm.
lot of people in the middle that they're not the left, they're not the right, they're not Republican, they're not Democrat. They just want to vote for someone that they feel would match their values, their beliefs, and more importantly, the economy, because that's what we talk about right here.
Hmm.
We're not going to get into a discussion about anything else besides just economy. That's what we're talking about. And just, things that have been mentioned in debates and,
Speeches.
podcasts, speeches, things that they've said, both candidates, Trump and Kamala, what they would do regarding the economy. Because I think that's one of the biggest concerns for people. Obviously, there's other things, right? But economy is the biggest thing because that hurts our pockets, right? At the end of the day, that's what we care about the most people, our
Hmm.
livelihoods a lot of the times. So the biggest concerns that people have right now is inflation, gas prices, right? Even though they've come down quite a bit, the job market is not that great right now. Unemployment, the cost of going to getting some groceries, all of that stuff, right?
Hmm.
So all those things are important for people. So let's break it down in two sections. We'll start off with Trump, then we'll go to Harris, and then we'll go like just kind of just commentary on both. Okay. Now, politicians promise a lot of things. Okay, Biden promised all our student loans would be
Forgiven.
forgiven. I haven't gotten any of them forgiven, right? And then Trump promised all sorts of things that were going to happen under his administration. And then we go back from Trump, we go to Obama, and then we go to every president before
Hmm.
them, or most of them promise a lot of things. Some of the things they did, but most of the things they
Yeah.
promise is to get people's votes.
Yeah, mostly what they promise is free. They never
Yeah.
promise we're gonna cut back. Yeah, they rarely ever say that, which
Or
is what we need.
Or maybe they do want the things they promise, but they just use it for votes. But back in the back of the head, they know that
Not
in order for this
possible.
to pass, it needs to go through the Congress, it needs to go through all these people. The president is not a king, okay? So only because they want something, it's not going to happen. So let's start off with Trump. So one of the biggest things that Trump has said that he wants to do is with tariffs. Tariffs are like basically taxes on other countries, and he's proposed. Obviously, he's just proposing. It's not like set in stone. But if he were to become president, he would propose large tariffs
Hmm.
onto you're talking about like China. You're talking about other countries that it's kind of like a power move. Like, hey, if you not respect our country, we'll start taxing you 10, 20,
Yeah,
30%, whatever it is.
but you gotta say it clearly. It says China.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, I've talked to people that work in like shipping and like logistics and stuff like that, like directly with China and stuff like that, with the shipping containers. And they
Hmm.
say, like, I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons with tariffs, when you impose them onto, countries like China. You impose them, yeah, they're going to pay a lot more in taxes, but what's going to happen then? They're going to charge
Inflation.
these people a lot more. And then these people are going to charge those people a lot more. And it all goes down to who? The consumer. At the end
Hmm.
of the day, when you raise a cost on anything, it's always going to hit the consumer.
Yeah.
So, in a way, like it kind of helps for in some ways, but in other ways it hurts
Yeah.
too. So it's not a perfect way of, um,
Yeah, it's almost like there's pros and cons of why people say tariffs are important because it like helps the U.S. manufacturers. But yeah, you're gonna have to pay higher since if you look at any product that we have, this microphone, your even Apple, anything that's made is in China. So
yeah,
if they're gonna get a tariff, that's gonna affect the consumer.
yeah, maybe the businesses that produce all these things are gonna do good because they're gonna, be able to charge more and whatever.
Hmm.
But yeah, people are then they're gonna pay
Yeah.
more. So that's one. Oil production, drill, baby, drill, right? So
Hmm.
Trump always says he wants to continue drilling. We're actually drilling more than we were at the beginning of the Biden administration.
Hmm.
Um, don't know why. But right
Well,
now,
to fight inflation.
biggest thing is
Yeah. And
inflation.
also the war that's happening.
Yeah, a lot of reasons, right? And then
Mhm.
Trump wants to go, beyond that, and obviously drill even more than that. Because I
Mhm.
think the biggest thing, with gas prices, people think with drilling oil, it's just going to affect gas prices. And maybe someone like myself and my wife, we wouldn't care because we both drive Teslas. So we're like, well, I can care less what the gas price is. I don't even know what it is right now.
Yeah.
Um, but it impacts everything because the stuff that you get from Amazon from the store and everything is all through those
Oil.
18 wheel riggers, right? Those
Yeah.
trucks, those big trucks. So if that goes up the cost, then they have to increase the cost of everything. So it does impact everything. Inflation is deeply impacted
Yeah.
by oil.
Yeah, even
And
the
the,
machinery in the factories, they all use oil, to
everything.
dig up and everything.
So
Everything touches oil.
yeah, so a lot of things touch oil. So of course, by producing more oil, it could help with
Inflation.
inflation and different things like that. Obviously, jobs and related to that. So yeah, that's just something for you to interpret. Whatever with the tariffs, oil production, um, the deficit. I know there's a lot or taxes, right? This is the other thing that Trump has proposed is lowering the job and axe cut that he did in the 2017, obviously making that permanent. So it impacts a lot of different things for small businesses, big businesses, extremely big businesses, medium businesses, all businesses. Tax cuts, tax cuts, tax cuts, which could help a lot of business owners, and it can help drive the economy because obviously there's going to be more businesses because there's these tax cuts help businesses. But then by doing these tax cuts, this is lowering the revenue on taxes which could increase our
Government.
deficit, right?
Mm.
So again, pros and cons. Just like tariffs on other countries, it can help the manufacturers, but then it can hurt the consumer because then we have to pay more for that stuff. So pros and cons with all these things. So don't be emotional with voting. Be logical. Think about all these things and how maybe for your specific industry it might be beneficial. So those are a couple of things, right? With Harris, she's proposed a $25,000 tax credit for homeowners. So tax credit, not grant. You know, you remember when we bought the Tesla, we got
Tesla.
a tax credit. So
Same
I
thing.
guess it's something similar. Number one, obviously, it has to be passed by Congress and all that. She can't just say, "I want this," and that's it. But who's gonna pay for that? Who's gonna pay for all that? That money is gonna
Taxes.
be going somewhere, right? So just like with Trump, with the lowering taxes on businesses, if she does this tax credit with housing, it's gonna increase our deficit regardless,
Yeah.
right? Same thing with tax credit. So with Harris, with immigration too, another topic, doesn't really plan to do anything like what Trump plans to do. So
They're both saying similar thing. They want to build, and also, I think they want to help them though, provide housing though for immigration though. Harris.
yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of different things going on with Harris and Trump in regards to the economy. I don't think there's a really set in stone plan for both of them exactly mapped out. What should we expect? But from my research that I've seen with both of their policies, none of them are tackling lowering the debt. None of them.
Yeah.
That's the issue that
Well,
as Americans, I
yeah.
feel like who cares if they're Republican or Democrat? Why don't we focus on lowering our debts and doing all those things, right?
Well, that's the sad part because nobody pays attention to that. Even though it affects us. Like, why is the housing so expensive? Why is when I went to high school, back then, if I made six figures, 100 grand, that was rich. But nowadays, no. It's just imagine a politician that says we're gonna go and cut the government in half. It's gonna hurt a lot of people, and nobody will vote for that. It's
Yeah.
it's like someone who says you have $25,000 in credit card. We're gonna cut that credit card. And yeah, they wouldn't win in office because everybody wants to hear me, me, me. Well, how are you gonna help me? And yeah, it's like what are we adding like $1 trillion of deficit every 90 days or 100 days? Yeah, and that's gonna affect not us but our future kids, and that's the thing. Like U.S. or Americans don't really fix anything until we're literally in the middle of the storm, and that's what they're hoping for. Like they always say, they're pushing the deficit for a later generation, which is gonna be a hurt our kids, and yeah, that's the part of politics that's kind of sucky for those who pay attention to that.
Yeah. There's a lot of things, they both mention, obviously there are things that people would just want to hear, right? Oh, tax,
Well, yeah, like they said, free. We're gonna cut your
taxes on tips.
no. Your student loans, like
Oh, yeah.
they didn't do that.
Yeah, student loan forgiveness, but it didn't happen. So yeah, so it's hard. It's hard to really think about it like that because obviously these are the only two options that we have. We had a third, but he dropped out basically. Um, But yeah, I think when you're thinking about all this, really look through it and just, see what exactly does it mean when they say tariffs, when they say tax cuts here, when they say free, you'll give $25,000 to buy a house or whatever. At the end of the day, it's only gonna make house prices go up, for example, It's not really gonna drive house prices to go down.
Yeah. Well, it depends because like I'm gonna go the other argument. Did Tesla prices go up when they announced that they're gonna cut $7,000?
But
That's their argument that people say they didn't go high. The Tesla cars when they said we're gonna cut $7,000.
I'm just thinking, I'll do the advocate again. Tesla's one company. A homeowner, there's millions of homeowners. So there's some homeowners are like, nah, screw it, raise the price by 25,000.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying I'm just saying their kind of argument. They're like, hey, the Tesla did that, but they didn't drop. I mean, their prices didn't go high. So
it's not an automatic check that they give you to tax credit. So yeah, it's just
it's tricky.
It's hard. It's hard. This whole topic of how to think about the economy under both of them. At the end of the day, we really don't know how the economy is going to look like 100%, or if there will be a recession under Trump or under Harris, or there'll be boom. Because then also at the end of the day, the Federal Reserve technically has to be non-political, and they have to make decisions regardless of what Trump or Harris thinks, and their decisions can impact the economy.
Yeah. And more than anything, I think you should start paying attention to your local city, your community, because this 4 year, every debate that we talk about with president, it affects, yes, the whole country. But what makes a true impact is pay attention to politics locally. I think more importantly, because everybody knows Trump or Harris, those names. But do you know the mayor, your city councilman, and all that stuff that happens in your local city? I think that's more important because that truly does affect your local economy.
Yeah, 100%. And just even like, how do your parks look? How do your streets look?
Yeah.
All those things. How your schools look? Are they funded? The police, is there enough police to cover the whole city?
Yeah.
All those things are super, super important. It is important in the presidency, but yeah, even in the local, everything is super, super important. So when you're going to vote in November,
register as well.
Obviously, that's the most important thing. Register to vote if you haven't, but also think about all those things. And, not just at a, like you said, federal level, but also local, state, city, county. All those things are super important. Those people probably might impact your lives more than what Trump or Harris are going to impact, to be honest. Yeah. So super important.
Yeah. I just feel bad for cats and dogs.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating.
I've seen a lot of memes about that.
Yeah.
About
they're
dogs.
all scared. Yeah. I think they're gonna.
I have
vote
my
this
dog.
Year.
I know they're not gonna vote this year.
I think they are gonna.
No, they're gonna vote. They're gonna vote. Yeah.
Gonna eat your
hide your cats and dogs. Yeah. That was definitely funny.
Yeah.
But yeah. So at the end of the day, we're not gonna come here and tell you guys who to vote for. We're just trying to cover just like what's going on with the economy. What are things that they've proposed? But again, what they propose can change. Trump can say this, and then next month he could change. Same thing with Harris.
Yeah, well, it's like you said, they're not kings. Yeah, they can sign executive orders here and there, but if the House is majority Democrat and the Senate is mostly Republican, then
basically
it's
nothing's
gridlock.
pass.
What they say, yeah, it's just kind of stuck in the middle. So the presidency is important, but if the Senate and the Congress doesn't change and it's in the middle, nothing gets done. Which that's probably a little more important.
Yeah, so I hope you guys can do some research on, before you vote in November on the things that are happening in your local, in your state, and all that stuff. And then, just nationwide, obviously, the presidency, obviously vote for that as well. Everything. Make sure you vote. Make sure you vote. Register to vote. Be prepared. It's coming up. It's coming up in what, like 2 months? So it's coming up. So maybe we'll do something as we get closer. As we get closer, just to remind people the importance of voting and how it can impact your community locally, not just the federal, not just the presidency, but locally as well. How your parks look like, how your schools, do they get enough funding, all that stuff. So super, super important. And yeah, man, I hope we see you guys in the next episode. And then soon enough, we'll know who is the president, for starting.
It's going to come by quick.
2025. Yeah. It's going to by really, really quick.
Yeah. Right now it's like pretty neck and neck. So it's hard to tell where it's going to lean.
Definitely. And I just realized we have blue and red background. There's no reason to have that up here. That's not purposely done, you know.
It's just we ran out of money.
Yeah. So
Just
we have the blue and red back
Yeah.
there. But yeah, hopefully you guys can make a good, you know, decision when it comes to, you know, what you vote for, who you vote for, and all those things. But please vote. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people